Let's pick up some of the contemporary issues that the country is dealing with in terms of economy. The first is the debate around deregulation of fuel prices. What many people are asking is why government is not stepping in to control this. But economists are going to be divided over whether that should happen. Meanwhile, this is leading to an increase in inflation. It's impacting food prices, everything, right? How do you look at this debate around the soaring fuel prices in India?
So I do believe, and here I think I'm with a lot of conventional economists, that fuel prices should be on somewhat of a float. So if the international prices are going up, you have to allow it to rise. When international prices are coming down, you have to allow it to come down. But the rise that has taken place is much more in India than can be explained in terms of the international price increase. So this is something where the government needs to step in or cut down on the duties and additional cesses that are charged to bring this down, because this is beginning to cascade through the economy. You know, Barkha, we do know that when it comes to wholesale price index, the inflation that we got in June, it's come down slightly, but only slightly in June, 12.9%, is the highest inflation in the last 30 years. And India has had high inflation after that. So it's the highest wholesale price inflation that we have seen in the last 30 years, which is very high. That, along with the slowdown in growth that we are seeing, is a classic what economists refer to as stagflation. The economy in terms of real terms is stagnating and inflation is taking up. That is what has happened. And for that, the fuel price, the level to which it has risen, is beginning to affect everything in the economy, and it needs to be curbed.
One of the things that the erstwhile oil minister said when asked about why the center was not stepping in was that the states were free to sort of adjust the prices as needed. States, of course, are short on revenue, so they're not budging. The center is not budging because it's passing this on to the states. So when you say that government should step in, do you mean state government or do you mean the central government?
No, this has to be at the central level, something like fuel. There are lots of items where the states can step in. But inflation can rarely be different in different states, because goods will move from one state to the other if you try to have different prices. So inflation is one policy which has to be at the national level. There are many.
What should the government do? So what should the government do?
Fuel price, you can't allow it to rise like this, and you can cap it. You just don't allow it to rise like this. And the other prices, I'm not in favor of intervening in every separate price. But something as basic as fuel, you can't allow it to rise like this, which is going to go cascading through the economy. So you have to stop that. India's fiscal deficit, the consolidated fiscal deficit, is 13%. But you know, there are countries which are living with bigger deficit. The United States is living with a bigger deficit. So the deficit is not at fault over here. It is the fact that we are allowing fuel prices to rise more than is necessary, even out of sync with the global increase that is taking place. And there the center needs to step in and curb that, and then let other prices adjust by market forces, and you won't get this kind of inflation that you're getting now.
So the center should move to cap the fuel prices nationally.
Cap the fuel prices, not endlessly. There are times when it rises very high, you cap it, but I'm not in favor of sort of freezing it and keeping it capped. You have to allow it to move up and down. But in a situation like this, when you are getting into a stagflation, proper stagflation, you do need special measures. And once again, this is not across the board, all prices, but fuel, which goes beneath the surface on virtually every commodity in the country, you do need special steps.